It's 6 o'clock in the morning. So that was a cold way to start this race.
I think I'm probably done.
She's done. I'm just relieved that she's okay. I'm pretty disappointed. I'm done.
5:15 in the morning. Probably can't even see us because it's dark and we are awake. I might be holding the camera upside down. Anyway, this is what it looks like outside. I don't know if you can see anything. It's dark. We don't want to be awake right now, but we have to go race our bicycles.
Yay! This is the time of morning when you pull your bike off the rack and you hope that like maybe your wheel broke in the night for no reason, or maybe somebody sabotaged your tires, or I don't know, maybe like your frame cracked from the cold.
Yeah.
Something terrible happened and you can't race, and that's sort of what you feel at 5 o'clock in the morning when you have to wake up to go get on the shuttle and then race your bicycle. But no such luck or unluck as the case may be, so here we are. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, loading up shuttles. Morning, guys.
Buenos dias.
So is it a good sign or a bad sign if your tires are freezing?
Good sign.
There's literally frost on these tires right here.
No, that's pretty sick, huh?
Well, that was a cold way to start this race. Now we've got an hour and a half climb. You can tell people are stoked on it. Look at all those smiling faces. The sun is finally out, or I guess rather, we are now high enough to be in the sun. Dropped a couple of layers, down to short sleeves, and maybe another half hour-ish to the start of the first stage. Should be okay. I think I've got about 45 minutes, so a little bit of buffer there, so time to do a warm-up. My feet are still cold from that river crossing, but they're getting there. This morning's stream crossing gave me a really good idea for a business plan, and I've decided next year, instead of racing this race, I'm gonna be at the stream crossing with a cart or something that I can fit a person in their bicycle in, and I'm gonna charge people $5 to get pulled across the river or this creek so they don't have to get their feet wet and take off their shoes. And I'm gonna make $1,000 in 2 hours, and then yeah, I'll be $1,000 richer. It's pretty brilliant, huh?
Yeah, Macky. One, go.
I think that was a fairly good stage for me. I felt smooth, and there were points where I definitely was like, man, should I be pedaling? Should I try to be going harder here? Because there were a lot of flat, really fast sections. But I just don't think, I don't know, I don't think for me that's usually the right answer. If I'm like pedaling all the time, sprinting as hard as I can, usually means I'm pushing too hard and I'm making like stupid mistakes or not working with the terrain properly. I caught my 30-second guy on the climb, pushed it pretty hard on the climb. Had a bit of a hard time recovering after the climb, but I don't know, we'll see. I felt pretty good, I felt pretty smooth. I think that's gonna be my plan for this weekend is smooth, consistent, pedal hard when there are pedal sections, but don't try to sneak in pedals all the time. It sounds like, unfortunately, Sid crashed on Dr. Park at some point. Some of the girls passed her, and then one of the guys told me here at the feed station, he's like, yeah, Sid's down there, she's getting checked out by the medic. I mean, she's moving and walking, but
my chain just came off as I tried to pedal and I just like tomahawked off the trail.
Right.
I think so, yeah. I just can't get it back on and it's like been all uphill. So unfortunately that didn't go super well. Pedaling on really fast section, chain dropped off and I just went like face first into the bushes, which is really kind of a bummer. Also then, same issue that Macky was having, I couldn't get my chain back on. I don't know how it fell off. It should be like impenetrable. So I couldn't get my chain back on. I was like freaking out. Anyway, it was bad. And then when I got to the bottom, I realized that not only is my pedal broken and my chain not on, but this happened. So since there's like a shit ton of climbing left, and I no longer have any way to shift, not to mention shifting in the stages, and I hit my head a little bit, but not too bad, luckily. I think I'm probably done, unfortunately. And now I have to pedal over to where I can get a shuttle, which is kind of a bitch because I can't shift. So I started out in a really easy gear. The problem is I can shift into harder gears. I just can't shift into easier gears.
oh man, poor Sid. Just can't get a clean one. So this guy's fortunately going to give me a ride down there. I'm going to see how she's doing and then decide whether or not to keep going or if she needs support. We made it about 2 minutes and then Sid was pedaling up the hill and she's fine. She has a slight dent in her helmet, but she says she feels totally fine. Her elbow's sore, but she broke her shifter. So, and just after a crash, apparently she dropped a chain doing like 25 miles an hour. So she's done. I'm gonna head back up to the next stage. I'm just relieved that she's okay. They're saying like 2.5 hours, so time to just settle in, get up to the top, try to feel good and make it down fast.
Yeah, Macky. You got me really excited.
as you can probably tell, that was not a great stage for me. Apparently 2x tires are not strong enough. Or I ride like an idiot or something. But I obviously need to figure it out because this is getting annoying. Yep. I had to put a plug in after that first stage, which I didn't notice till I was at the aid station, so it wasn't leaking super fast. I put a plug in, and so I was hoping that maybe the plug tore out and that's why it flatted this time. That was not the case, so I don't know why I flatted. I'm really hoping I will be able to sort things out enough that tomorrow I do not flat. But I'm pretty disappointed. It just sort of feels like this is the way this season has gone. It's like something happens at every freaking race. And I'm disappointed, tired of it. Yeah, that's about all. I was feeling pretty good at the top. Feeling pretty good until it started going down, but it felt like I railed that top section and was looking at a good time when this happened. And then I had to back it down so much because the stupid exposure sections, my tire kept trying to drift off the edge. Ah, man. The last 16 or so hours have been a bit of an emotional roller coaster. Obviously, I was pretty disappointed yesterday getting a flat on the second stage. Pedaled it back out, or put a tube in. Got on the shuttle, got back to the venue, connected with Sid. She was doing all right. And then sort of thought, you know, does it really make sense for me to race today? Because it's going to be 5,000 some feet of climbing, and I'm out of contention for any reasonable result at this point. And like, would it be better to just recover? So I called my coach, Mike, and he said I should go ahead and race. Good training. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna race. And then last night I went to fix my tire, put a new tire on, and I couldn't get it to seat up. My usual tricks weren't working. And I was tired and frustrated and really did not want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning again. So it's like, you know what? Signs from the universe, I'm not racing. I'm gonna go to sleep. Went to sleep, didn't set an alarm, woke up, and then when I woke up I realized it was 7:15 and the second wave of shuttles was leaving at 8. I was like, well, I guess I'll try. If I can get my wheel seated up and get down there on time, I'll go ahead and race. So, got my wheel seated up, got dressed really fast, pedaled down the hill, got here, and here I am. So I am racing the second day.
Yeah.
That was an awesome stage. Oh man, I admit in the past, I've not always been a big fan of that trail, 409.5, but this time it was so much fun. Probably because it was dry, and all the other times it's been wet, extremely wet. But had a blast on that one. Felt good. It was a very clean run for me. At one point I did drop my chain, which, you know, given how rough it was, I guess it's just hard to keep a 2x on. So dropped it, but then was able to pedal it back on. Obviously it's underneath that, but it stayed on fairly well afterwards, and really I just wanted it to stay on so that I could finish and not get tangled up, and it did. So that was just really fun. I'm glad I'm racing today.
Go. Yeah, Macky.
Oh man. Oh baby.
Made it. Yeah, bud.
Oh yeah. I'm done. That second stage, Teocali Ridge. Oh man, it's fun. Both of the stages today were fun. Actually, all the stages this weekend were fun. Really, really nice. I really enjoy racing here in Crested Butte. It's like you get epic backcountry days, you wear a pack, you're self-supported. It's really cool. So clean runs today. My rear tire doesn't seem to be holding air despite being a new one, so I don't know if I did a bad job taping it or what, but it's leaking a little bit. It lost like 10 psi between the bottom and the top of the second stage, so I aired it back up at the top and it was fine for the descent down, but obviously need to get that stuff dialed, figured out before the race next weekend. Made it back to the venue and checked out results from today, and I was 4th and 6th on today's 2 stages, which bumped me up to like 14th or something overall, so gained some spots. Pretty disappointed I flatted yesterday, because given that I was 5th on the first one, 4th on 4th and 6th today, probably would have been a pretty good result for me. But that's bike racing, it happens. I am quite pleased with riding the 2x, having that little gear for the climbs, and honestly the like 3811, which was my hardest gear, was really nice also, because I ended up being topped out a couple of times even in that gear. So it was good to have the big gear, good to have the little gear. I'm pleased. Probably will not be my go-to for all racing. I think a 1x makes more sense, but for this race it was definitely a good choice. Overall the bike held up well. I think I really did just need a Huck Norris in the back here, because yeah, in general I think the tires are pretty strong, but when you smack them hard enough and then they hit your rim, they're likely to flat, and I think that's what happened yesterday. Is I just smashed it too hard into my rim, and without the Huck Norris in there to help protect it, it punctured. Front held up well, suspension felt good and held up well, so overall I'm pleased with the weekend, in how I felt and how I raced, and disappointed with the mechanical. On to the next one, North Star in Truckee, California. National Enduro Series Finals next weekend. Probably going to start driving tomorrow. I just want everything to come together that race. It would be awesome. As always, thanks for tuning in. If you like what we're doing, give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments what you like or don't like, what you want to see more of. Subscribe if you haven't. It's always going to be an adventure. Thanks for coming along.